All right, what's going on, my friends? Misha Wilson here, and welcome to another episode of this Behind the Scenes series. Now, once again, in this series, if this is your first video, I'm going to be walking you through essentially building a brand new business that I went ahead and purchased from essentially the ground up and taking it from where it is with no momentum, very little traction in its current operations, and scaling it up to the $1 million mark, the multi-million dollar mark, and then of course we will go from there. All right, so that is the goal. If you've been tuning in, you know what the business is at this point. It's a health and wellness supplement brand, and specifically for men when it comes to losing weight, when it comes to building muscle, and everything in between. Yesterday, I went ahead and walked you through what the actual business is, a couple of different things that I saw in the business when I was first going ahead and analyzing it. And today I want to walk you through two more things that led me to going ahead and making the buying decision to go ahead and grab this brand, build this brand instead of a couple of other brands. So as always, if you get value, don't forget to go ahead and share this with individuals that you know who would get value out of this as well. Don't forget to let me know what your biggest takeaway is in the comments section below. And as always, if you get value, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification button. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in to today's video. So as you can see, I'm here once again at the homepage of course, True Fierce. And yesterday we talked about a couple of different things when it comes to knowing the market, knowing the individuals in the market, being able to speak with the individuals in the market, and really having, affinity and relatability to those individuals in the market. And again, we talked about weak points in the business and essentially being able to identify weak points that we could then solve in order to grow the business, grow the profit, and grow the revenue. But not only the revenue, grow, of course, a healthy profit margin and, of course, a healthy free cash flow margin. So that's what we covered yesterday. Now, today, I want to talk about two more differentiating factors. These will be the last two things that I touch on before we get into actually reviewing the business, reviewing things I saw that need to be changed, showing you, essentially the structure, the setup, and everything in between when it comes to how they're actually marketing the business. I'll actually show you those things coming up here. But today I want to talk about two more things that led me to going ahead and making the buying decision. All right. So firstly, if we just look at the overall brand, right, the products themselves are excellent. All right. And I'll be the first to say there were different products out there and different brands out there that I got really excited about and I got really passionate about. But at the end of the day, the products just weren't all that great, right? Or the products could easily be recreated by anyone else or, sourced by, someone else from a sourcing company in China, resold at a cheaper price. And essentially, we would have then been boxed in competing on price instead of competing on value. All right, so the lesson here is very simple. You want a product that you do not need to compete on price with. You want a product that you can compete on value with, so you can add more value to the actual product, be able to charge more when you're going ahead and adding value than the competition, or at least charge the exact same amount and not get stuck in a race to the bottom where everyone starts charging less. You have to charge less, they charge less, you have to charge even less, etc. That is the absolute last thing you want to go ahead and get involved in. All right. So with this brand, we had an element of, protection around that. Now, firstly, we had an element of protection around that very simply because these are health supplements. All right. So when you're selling health supplements, again, it's very easy to differentiate between other brands by adding different ingredients, adding special ingredients, adding more of a certain ingredient, removing certain ingredients from, a certain product that other brands have that might not necessarily help them get to their goal, the consumer get to the goal the way they want to, right? So as an example, with the other brands that I was looking at, if we're trying to sell like the scalp massager that we were looking at as one of the brands, right? I don't really know exactly how I can differentiate with that brand that would not necessarily add more cost to the actual product. So yes, I can differentiate and I can make the offer better by saying, all right, instead of one scalp massager, you can get two, right? But if the cost of goods sold is $25 or $20 per scalp massager, and let's say we're charging $70. If I give them two instead of one, our cost just went from 20 to 40 or 25 to 50, right? Because we're giving away more, but it's also costing us more. So it's harder to differentiate. And when you once again can't differentiate, you tend to get caught in the race to the bottom, competing solely on price. Where with this specific brand being, of course, health supplements, I can very simply say, all right, I am going to take this fat burner and I'm going to look out there in the marketplace with all the different fat burners out there, and I'm going to look for specific, ingredients that I know work extremely well for fat burners. And that once again brings me back to knowing the market and knowing the individuals in the market and having knowledge around the market. And I'm going to look for different gaps in the market where, a certain product might be providing value this way, but might not be providing value that way, right? A certain product might be very good for burning fat during the day, as an example, but there might not be a product out there that helps you burn fat in the evening. So that's one example of, a hole in the market that I've kind of already spotted, where I've spotted one particular competitor who's kind of caught on to that and is going to be going ahead, or already is promoting and creating a product around that. But that's something that I think we can do too. All right. Now, when we do that, we can then create, again, even more on top of that from a differentiated standpoint, where we can add different ingredients that help you sleep better. We can add different ingredients that help you burn fat while sleeping better so that you're more productive during the day, so that ultimately you are working out harder, you're able to burn more fat during the day, but you also burn more fat in the evening. All right. So these are different ways that if you have a product you can differentiate yourself with, it just makes your life so much easier. All right. So that's lesson number one when it comes to differentiating yourself. Very simply, always choose a product or always choose a business that allows you to be different. Different is always better than better when it comes to marketing. And if you can't be different, you have to try to be better. And oftentimes when you're trying to be better, you end up solely competing on price. And if you're constantly lowering price, you're going to be constantly lowering margin. And when you're constantly lowering your price and your margin, you are constantly going to be making less money. And there is no strategic advantage of being the second cheapest product in the market. All right. There's only an advantage of being the cheapest option in the market. And if you can't compete with Walmart when it comes to that, well, good luck. Right. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing, very simply, is if you look at this overall business, if you look at everything that they have here and everything set up when it comes to how they've set everything up, just kind of from the ground up, right? Firstly, we have, of course, great products. Secondly, we have, of course, what we've already talked about when it comes to knowing the actual market. Third, we have, gaps in the actual product, gaps in the product line when it comes to what we want to do and how we can go ahead and expand the product line, how we can also expand the overall effectiveness of the existing business and the existing product line, sales funnels, sales copy, offers, literally everything in between when it comes to differentiating, etc. Last, but certainly not least, what I saw in this business very simply is the very simple fact that we have untapped ad channels that we can go ahead and tap into. And with untapped ad channels, we can do more without necessarily having it to be better, right? So we do want to be better, but without untapped ad channels, we would essentially be confined and restricted by just the channels that they were already using. So as an example, with this business, let's say they were already using TikTok ads, they were already using YouTube ads, they were already using Facebook ads, which they were, but they were already using email drops, they were already using Instagram shout outs, etc., right? If they were already hitting all of those things, the only option it would leave us would be to do more. All right. We don't always just want to try to do more. We want to do more, and we also want to do different, and we also want to do better. So in this particular circumstance, what I saw is I saw a company that has a product to market fit, right? People are buying the product, just not doing it as much as we want them to. Also, on top of the product market fit, it has sales funnels that are not optimized. So if we optimize those sales processes and those sales funnels, we can immediately see more margin. When we see more margin, we can, of course, drive the top line more effectively because we can then reinvest more money back into ads. But what I also saw, and this is kind of a bonus on top of everything else, is that they were getting all of their traffic from one single ad platform. And that is, of course, Facebook. All right. So Look, if you're getting all of your customers from one pool, one of the questions you want to ask yourself is, where are my customers hanging out that I'm not advertising? Where else are they hanging out where we might be able to put a message in front of them to attract them into our ecosystem to start generating new customers? Because when we generate new customers, we can then sell additional products, additional services, and additional goods to those individuals and increase our our customer base, but also our product line through selling more additional new products to our actual existing customers. So with this business, as an example, they're not using YouTube ads. They're not using TikTok. They're not using email broadcasts like solo ad style drops. They're not using Instagram shout outs. They're not using any of that. And just as an obvious conclusion, that's a massive, massive, massive opportunity for us when it comes to being people who have expertise when it comes to YouTube ads, when it comes to knowing people who have expertise when it comes to TikTok ads, Google ads, etc., everything in between. And so we can take that and we can then expand it out. And when we expand it out, not only do better with Facebook through better sales funnels and better processes and better, right, everything, but also we can get more through different additional advertising platforms that are completely and totally untapped for this brand, completely and totally untapped for this particular product line. And as an example, we can kind of tap into not a true blue ocean, but we can tap into an untapped area and an untapped customer base that has not seen these products yet, allowing for more potential upside, more growth, and as a result, more money at the end of the day. So with that said, guys, just a quick recap on all the various reasons why I went ahead and made the decision to purchase this brand. Firstly, once again, the market. I understand the market. I know the market. I relate to the market. And as a result, it allows me to speak effectively to the market. Secondly, gaps in the business, right? So ineffective sales processes that were not set up correctly to begin with, that give us potential to do things better, and as a result, get a better result. Third, of course, what I just touched on, the ability to differentiate without having to race to the bottom when it comes to the price. Never be in a business where you always have to compete on price, knowing and understanding that then the only way to compete is to continually lower your price, lower your price, lower your price, lower your price until you're the dollar store and you're not even making money. And at this point, the dollar store, everything costs like $5, right? So the name of it itself is kind of a fallacy. But again, if you're always lowering your price, you're always going to make less money. And last but certainly not least, always look for additional places where your customers are hanging out, where you currently aren't advertising. All right, if you find those places where they're hanging out, where you aren't advertising, that is literally free money. If you learn how to go ahead and place ads to attract those customers, to get them to buy, to get them to make a buying decision, and ultimately buy your product, you have a completely new pool of people to tap into that are untapped, have not seen your message, are not saturated to your message, have not said no before, and ultimately a new place to attract customers. So those are the main reasons why I went ahead and purchased this brand. If you got value out of today's video, as always, don't forget to let me know in the comments section below what your biggest takeaway was. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And in the next videos, I'll actually be walking you through. I've told you about some of the gaps. I've told you about what I saw, etc. I'm going to be walking you through and showing you exactly why certain things stood out, what made certain things stand out, and how I saw we could improve those very quickly. If you got value, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon notification button. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was in the comments section below. And until next time, over and out.